All right, welcome back to Bitcoin Advisors channel. My name is Chris, bringing it to you here from Westlake Village, California. And once again, same things to talk about, the same range we've been talking about for weeks. And again, patience is the name of the game. We've been talking about a daily closure, and we're waiting for TradingView here. So a daily closure above 44,500 or below 37,000. We've kind of tightened up the range, and that likely to get us the next major move, and that target being to the upside on Bitcoin. Actually, I'm going to stretch this out a little bit. Around 52 to 55,000 to the upside, and to the downside. Getting a little lag time here on TradingView. Come on, Internet. Here we go. To the downside, we've been talking about a resolution somewhere around 25,000 in that neighborhood. If this thing does want to break to the downside, we did talk about yesterday as well. Any kind of a 4-hour closure above here would likely get us a move back to the top side of this range here around 41 to 42,000. It looks like that is playing out. And we got volatility increasing. We do have Stokes crossing to the downside. We'll cross up with any kind of a closure above 41,000. So momentum has turned down for the moment. And I do believe the market is going to be a little bit flat coming into this Fed meeting, which is going to come in at 2 p.m. Eastern time, 11 a.m. Pacific time. And here's just a couple interesting facts from my notes here on the inflation numbers. So core PPI, and this is some good news, core PPI that takes out food and energy costs, last month was at 0.6%. That would give us an annual inflation rate of 7.2%. It actually came in at 0.2% this month, much less than expected. And they reported 2/3 of the increases actually came from energy, which is, oil and natural gas. So that is a little bit on the bullish side and also plays into the wage price spiral narrative, again, that we were talking about, which was kind of deflated last month when when the Fed revised their numbers and said, No. Wages aren't increasing faster than inflation. But if you do start to see that happen, that also could be a negative. Another kind of positive note for Bitcoin, I believe one of the Russian generals was talking about ending the war sometime in May. Do I believe that's the case? I personally don't. That's just my opinion. I'm not a war analyst, but from what I know of Putin, I don't think he's going to give up until he, until he either wins or dies. He's kind of hanging his hat on this war. It's the end of his career. So if World War III breaks out, it's not going to be good for any kind of assets, in my opinion. What else in mind? So yeah, we talked about the 4-hour getting a bit of a rise up to the top side of this range. And I would say a 4-hour closure back above 42,500 gets us a move back to the top side of the range, somewhere around 44.5 to 5,000. Let's even take a look at the hourly time frame and see what we got going on the shorter term time frame. So it does look like the move is coming to an end here as volatility hit 90%. And you can see the last few moves, and typically the end of a move is going to end in the 90 to 100 percentile region. So do we cool off here and maybe come back down and test support maybe around 39.8? I definitely think that is a possibility. Even all the way down to 39.5 would be okay as long as we do not start closing hourlies back below this low, actually at 38,320. I would probably say Bitcoin is more on the bullish side. But let's also take a look at something we talked about yesterday, the 5-day closure, which will be closing here at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. And what do we have on the 5-day here? What were we talking about? We were talking about extremely low volatility down in this region produces 45 to 60% moves. Remember, volatility is neutral in direction. So we don't know which way it's going to break, to the upside or to the downside. All we know is in Bitcoin land, when volatility is low, that means volatility is coming soon. And that is very, very likely to play out here in the short term. Again, the last couple of moves I've marked off with these horizontals here. And we did have a move down here. That was 42% down there. We had 45% to the upside there, or 48%. We had, I should mark off this one as well. This one, that was 52% to the downside. And this one right here, that was another 73% to the upside. So somewhere around 45 to 65%. And what do you know? From this level right here, if we took 45% to the upside, that would put us around 60,000. So not bad. And that would break our theory that we're going to play out a bit of a bull trap somewhere around 52 to 55,000. If we could get a 5-day closure back above this level, I would say that would look good for a possible retest of the highs, but I don't think that's the case. And then what would 45% to the downside look like from this level? %45 to the downside. Yep, that's coming right in line, about 22,000. And I do want to denote as well on Bitcoin CMEs, that is the Chicago Mercantile Exchange for Bitcoin. There is a nice gap here, which we've been talking about, ever since it showed up here in the charts. And that is coming in right here. Right here. This is the gap. And I'm just going to mark it off again. Right here between 26 and 24,615. And what happens with gaps? They like to get filled with price action over time. So just be aware of that to the downside. And back onto the 5-day chart here. And let's check out so the 5-day chart, again, extremely low volatility. And we already are crossed to the upside with our stochastic momentum indicator. We are not quite out of the bearish control zone yet. I'd say if this gets above 40, then we'd be kind of out of the woods here on CMEs, but it looks quite different on spot price action. And do we have any bullish divergence here? Only one drive from this point here. So just want to mediate that with spot price action. And what's going on with the spot price action is we're going to have a closure today. And with any kind of a closure above 38,304, the momentum will cross to the upside. And does that mean blindly just buy in and get ready? No, I would mediate that with a daily closure above 44,500. If we get the Stokes to cross to the upside and a daily closure above there, then very, very likely I do think Bitcoin will test that $52,000 to $55,000 region. So that is where I'm going to leave this one off for Bitcoin. What else do I notice in the markets here? Nasdaq is playing out the bullish divergence we spoke about yesterday. And we said any kind of a daily closure above this wick right here would give us multiple drives of bullish divergence, which is price making lower lows and RSI is making higher lows. And I'll just show that here. We got 1, 2, 3 drives of bullish divergence. and that is mediated on the RSI. RSI is making higher lows as prices making lower lows. And we did say any kind of a daily closure back above this level would give us a shot up to the yellow 21 exponential. And I actually think we could extend this, mediated with some good news from the Fed today. If they do only raise rates 0.25%, some are saying it could be 0.5%. You never know what the Fed is going to do, but they have told us they're going to be more open and transparent about what they are doing during their meetings. Supposedly, they're not going to be, talking out of the side of their mouth as much as they usually do. And so how would I look for the next drive on Nasdaq up to the green 55? I would look at it like this. And the other thing I'll point out is the more times a trend line gets tested, the more times, the weaker it gets, essentially. So this is going to be the 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth time the yellow 21 has been tested. I do think that is more in line with a bit of a break. But I would say, so how would I look for that next drive? Let's throw it down on a 4-hour time frame and kind of look at this breakdown from this perspective. And what are we looking for? We're looking for the green 55, which is coming in right there. So how do we match that up on the 4-hour time frame? And so what I'm going to do is throw on a fib right here from this high to this low. And yeah, pretty much some people would front run it with a 4-hour closure above the 618, your bull trap area. Some people would be waiting for the 786. I think we're in line with a bit of a more of a bounce, as well as S&P is bouncing a little bit harder, already getting up to the purple 200. And so it does look like it wants to bounce. What about Dow Jones? Dow Jones doing the same thing. So S&P and Dow Jones kind of leading the party here. And that also plays out to Bitcoin's favor. When Nasdaq's going up, typically Bitcoin is going up. And what do I have on the dollar here? We did talk about this with the dollar, wanting it to come down somewhere back around 97 cents. Even 96 cents would be completely okay. So do we have any divergences here? That's lower highs, lower highs. How about this guy right here? Yes, we do have 2 drives of bearish divergence. So price is making higher highs and RSI is making, that's one drive. Is that going to be one drive? Let's go back to this point right here. Lower. Yeah. So here we go. We got 1, 2, 3. Actually, that's only 2 drives. Excuse me. 1, 2. 2 drives right here of bearish divergence. So that does give you a move down to the yellow 21. And as the dollar comes down, typically that gives Bitcoin and Nasdaq a bit of an opportunity for a rally. So I do think that lines up with the more bullish case for Bitcoin. Dollar coming down. What about gold? Gold did play out the bounce or the move that we spoke about as well. Selling off the highs and looks like it's coming back down towards this green 55. How does it look on the 4-hour? I think it could actually pick itself up here, right here. Looks like a fairly decent buying opportunity. And what about on the weekly? How does gold look here? So yeah, gold wants to come down to this level at least, I would say at 1897. I think that is pretty easy. And you can see volatility is maxed out here. So as volatility declines, you expect a bit of a corrective move to the downside. And that would be completely fine for gold. What about oil? Oil is also coming down quite a bit, which is, again, good for the inflation narrative and the wage spiral narrative as well. Definitely more positive news there. And yeah, pretty much all we want to do is hear Putin say he's given up the war, and then I think Bitcoin could go back on partying to the upside. Frankly, though, I don't see that happening anytime soon. I could be totally wrong there, but I will cover a couple of altcoins here as well. One we've been following up on for the past few days and weeks is Luna. And Luna is, what is Luna doing here? On the weekly, looks like a bit of a rejection there. However, momentum is still to the upside. We got 4 days left in this weekly closure. And momentum will remain to the upside as long as we're closing above 62 bucks. Do we have any divergences playing out here? On the RSI, let me see. So we got lower highs coming in all the way down here. And we've got higher highs in price coming back all the way from here. So does this line up with Luna giving a stab maybe down to the yellow 21 around 64 or at least 73 bucks? It looks like it to me on the weekly. And I would really quickly mediate that with any kind of a weekly closure back below 75. I think we could give a shot down to 65 bucks and maybe just a wick down there. You know, nothing closing below there. As soon as we close below that yellow 21, I will be getting bearish on Luna. What about the daily? How does the daily look? And the daily is looking a bit droopy, and it does want to probably tick down to this yellow 21. There are a few drives of bearish divergence, and where are those coming in from? So we got 1, 2. Yeah, that is, let's see. So RSI is making lower highs from, let's see, this point here. And there's a higher high. So that is at least, oh yeah, that's 2 drives. So we got 2 higher highs right here, this high and this high, relative to this high. And with 2 drives, the first target is going to be that yellow 21, which is coming in right there. However, how does the 4-hour time frame look? Yeah, 4 hours down, volatility is up. 4 hours down, volatility is up. So price is going to go in the direction of the trend as volatility is expanding. So you would expect, you know, lower highs. We got lower high. And do we have a lower low? Yeah. Is this a lower low? No, we do not have a lower low. This is a higher low. We got a slew of higher lows. But it does look like we are breaking this trend line as we speak. The 4-hour will close in the next 3 hours and 42 minutes. It could easily pick itself back up. So that's something to be aware of. And what is the 1 hour doing? 1 hour is down. Volatility is extremely low. So we are about to get a fairly decent move to the upside or to the downside. And how would I mediate that? Well, let's check out the RSI and see what we have going on here. Let's see. Coming back from this low right here. So that would be 1, 2. As long as we don't close below this guy here on the hourly time frame, it does look like we will have at least 2 drives of bullish divergence, and that would give you a shot possibly up to the yellow 21. We are looking at a death cross coming in right there on the hourly, and I'm willing to bet that is right at the 618. If we put a fib on, and that is where your bull traps come in. So, yep, it's right around that area. So the 0.5 or the 618, that's where I would expect some kind of a bounce to play out, unless this thing just gets shafted all the way down. But the way Bitcoin is looking right now, Bitcoin is picking itself up, holding itself up. Let's just close it off with Bitcoin. So above 40,500. And we do have just a slew of higher lows coming back all the way from way back here on the daily even. But we also have these lower highs. So the big question is I think today, if Bitcoin can get back above 42.5, if we do get rejected here and, even put a daily back below 37,500, probably going to give another wick fill somewhere around here. But I would be waiting for the 5-day and be waiting to see kind of what Nasdaq does. If Nasdaq gets shoved back down, very likely Bitcoin is going to get shoved back down. So that's it for today, guys. I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, we're not a financial advisor. It's not financial advice. If you did enjoy the daily analysis, please go ahead and like the video, hit the subscribe button, and you'll get reminded of all the future daily videos and updates we put out. Also, if you're interested in putting Bitcoin or other cryptos in your IRA, there is a link in the description below. Thanks and have a blessed day. Take care.